Shalom, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahushai, Barak the Yahweh, and Barak the Yahushai, as well praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops, great millstone, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect across the planet Earth. So I just got this article out of KATV, ABC7. It was an affiliate out of Little Rock, Arkansas, and basically they did an interesting article about the average. It was entitled "The Average Empire Survives for 250 Years. Is America at Death's Door?" And the answer to that question is yes, But yeah, so this 4th of July, 2026 will mark the 250th anniversary of America. America was founded in 1776, so it marks about 250 years. They're saying that the average empire lasts 250 years. So, and by the way these prophecies are going, America's death is definitely at the door, man. But it was an interesting article. It's actually dated a while back, December 27th, 2021. And so, we're right here at 2026, 5 years later. I wanted to do a video on the 250th anniversary, and this article popped up. But yeah, it says studies show that empire survives on average a mere 250 years. Did you know that? To put that into context, the world's oldest person recently died at 124 years old. So she lived nearly half as long as most empires do. Most Americans are unaware of this small but crucial statistic, which may suggest much about our country's future. It is past time for Americans to be confronted or to confront the painful reality that our time as a world superpower may be limited. Yeah, that's Esau's mentality. He says, pride of thy heart hath deceived him, man. Who shall bring him down to the grave? Or who shall bring him down? His inward thought, who shall bring him down? But, the Lord's plan, this is all scripted. The Lord already knows exactly, the Most High knows exactly when, he's going to bring this place down. It's been steadily going down since the 70s. America's been set up to punish the Israelites. That was America's purpose. And now that the time has come to where the elect is being gathered and Israel's about to be saved, the elect of Israel, that is, the hopeful election. Now it's time for America to be destroyed. And it is time to explore how to slow down that, frankly, is inevitable at some point. Yeah, it's inevitable. Try to slow down the death of America. You're not going to do that, man. It has its time and date. Since World War II, the United States has been primarily concerned with spreading democracy and freedom across the world. But jumping down, in 2026, the United States of America, founded in 1776, will celebrate its 250th anniversary. We're rapidly nearing 250th anniversary of the fall of most previous civilizations, with ongoing internal turmoil ranging from race to financial disparity to political tribalism. Jumping down to China, because China thinks they're going to be, the next to rule. It's the Israelites. China is clearly interested in expanding its worldwide domination, but more so in terms of economics and finance than in terms of actual resources. They look to be the primarily focused militarily on their own backyard while gradually advancing through technology and capacity to have global military reach if it is required. So a lot of this technology is coming out of China. The AI is booming over in China. All the tech comes out of China. And so they're trying to say that China is going to be the next, or they're positioning themselves to be the next world domination. But that's not going to happen. When America falls, the Israelites, Yahushai, is going to establish his kingdom on the planet Earth. is going to be Yahushua's kingdom. The election as joint heirs with Yahushua ruling, the planet Earth. But this is Obadiah verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord, Yahushua. Yeah, that's America's symbol, is the eagle. All Esau's ruling through all his major empires, he set himself to be the eagle, going back to the original Roman Empire, the first Roman Empire. Now we're in the second-legged Roman Empire, the image of the beast. And they're exalting themselves as the eagle. It's another clue as to who Esau is, man. Though thou set thy nest amongst the stars. So how do you set his nest amongst the stars? The space program is the International Space Station. All those Apollo missions that took place during the 70s. And that's when America steadily started to go down. It's in the 70s. All the economists will tell you America's peak was in the 70s. Thence will I bring thee down. Yeah, America's peak was in the 70s, and it slowly declined up to this point. Actually, let me start verse at the top. Obadiah 1:1. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord power concerning Edom. This is concerning Esau, man. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is set among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou greatly despised. The pride of thy heart hath deceived thee. Yeah, the pride of his heart, man, he's a proudful man, Thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. So that's talking about Esau, man. He made his home in the clefts of the rocks, in the caves, and in the mountains. That's his legacy. That's his heritage. He wants to take over our heritage, and our legacy, and our cultures and all that. Amalek, but his heritage goes back to the caves. The Lord's saying, hey, the pride of your heart have deceived you. You think you're going to rule forever, man. His habitation is high up in the mountains, man. That's why they erect these tall skyscrapers. Reminds them of, they love living all high up in these high-rise buildings. High-rise office buildings, high-rise apartment buildings. Spiritually, they're comforted by that because it goes back to them in the mountains, the Caucasus Mountains. I hate being that high. His habitation is high. That saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Yeah, he's high. He's on top of the planet. So who's going to bring him down? Who's going to bring America down? That's what he thinks in his mind. And though thou set thyself, as I read this, but though thou set thyself as the eagle, so now you got a better understanding because it's talking about Esau, man. He sets himself as the eagle. And though thou set thy nest amongst the stars, from the space programs, International Space Station, in the 70s, thence will I bring thee down. So yeah, America's been going down since the 70s, man. It looks like, we're almost at that point. I believe Philippines had a large earthquake today. This is what's today, June 8th, 2026. They had saw on the news that a 7.7 earthquake over in the Philippines. So these earthquakes in diverse places, pestilences, wars, rumors of wars, all this is how uprise of the people, all this is happening all at the same time, man. It's Matthew 24:34. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass, till all things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man. So we can speculate, go through these historical documents, and the average life of an empire is 250 years, but no man really knows when America's going to go down. But it is definitely a clue, you know. But of that day and hour no man knoweth, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. And you got these pastors talking about they knew time and date. They give a specific date. That day comes and goes, like every year. Someone's giving some doomsday date. They know the exact time and date. But that date comes and it goes, man. No man knows the time and date, but we're definitely close. How do we know? Through watching, through watching these prophecies. But as of the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Yeah, no one was watching that. Noah was out there prophesying. 100 years, hundreds of years. Can't recall the exact number of years. Over 100 years. Noah was out there prophesying, man, and nobody believed him until that drop came from heaven, man, because it never rained before. The plants and the trees and the vegetation, they got their water through the dew. The water would come up from the ground. It never rained before. And the Most High said, got fed up, flooded the whole planet Earth. But the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark. And you're seeing that now, man. People are focused, they're focused on, eating, drinking, and marrying, having a good time, partying, you know, the ways, the cares of this life. But they're not paying attention to what the prophet is, not watching as well as praying, you know, especially our people, man. You got false prophets that know they're Israelites, you know, they're not warning the people, you know. For as the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying, giving in marriage. Same thing today, man. Until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall the coming of the man, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Yeah, same way, man. It's gonna come like a thief in the night. As 1 Thessalonians 5:1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. So when the people least expect it, that's when the Lord's going to come. That's when the hell's going to come. That's when the destruction's going to come, man. That's when this place is going to fall, America. And it's going to be turned into a large, desert, man. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. Yeah, the ones that are, understand this word, this truth, and fear, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. They know this day is coming, it's not going to overtake you as a thief, because you fear the Lord and you understand his word, you're doing all that you need to do in order to be delivered. Ye are all children of light and children of the day, and not children of the night nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. Yeah, sober-minded. Get caught up in different philosophies, different doctrines, unsound, wayward doctrines. Doctrines of devils. Having your mind seared with a hot iron. Stay focused on the path. Stay on the truth, man. Don't let Satan, sift you out. Deal with these temptations. Deal with the hell. Deal with the infirmities, sicknesses. Deal with the punishment, deal with the persecutions, the afflictions, all whatever it is that you have to deal with it, man. Take it cheerfully, as the scriptures say. But let us watch and be sober, man. Sober-minded, focusing on Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, this word and this truth, these prophecies, unto the very end, man. And praying the Lord will take the spirit from you. They that sleep in the night, and they that are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love. Yeah, the breastplate of faith and love. That's the most important thing at the end of the day is faith. And for the helmet, the hope of salvation. Always have that hope, you know. That helmet of salvation, man. Always looking forward. You know, having that tunnel vision, that vision of the kingdom, man. That vision, that reward of doing, you know, that your work will pay off one day, man. Ultimately, it's that salvation, man. Yeah, because we know we're close. This article says the average empire survives for 250 years, and you know we're coming up on that 250-year anniversary in a few weeks. You know, in America. I saw an article where it said cash payments will be, you know, no more cash payments by 2030. That's 4 years from now, man. There's predicting all the technologies in place. You know, all the technologies in place. They're saying all cash payments will be done. Cash will be done away with by 2030. You know, that's exactly once that cash is put in place to perfect this digital system. You know, that's when they're going to push that chip. Because that chip is linked to the money system. Yeah, is America at death's door? Yes, it is, man. According to these prophecies, man. With that, you know, shalom.